Hello and welcome to this webinar on getting to know your iPad. I am Robert Pronovos, the Ravenswood City School District STEM Coordinator, as well as a Q Outstanding Emerging Teacher of 2012 and the ISTE Emerging Leader Class of 2012. Today's session is an introduction to the iPad, so if you are already familiar with how to use an iPad, I would definitely suggest skipping this and moving directly to the next webinar. We're going to begin with navigation, how to navigate through your iPad. And I want to begin by showing you what the iPad looks like. You will see on most iPads, except for the original iPad, that you have a camera in the front as well as a camera in the back. All iPads have an on-off button at the top. If you hold it down, it will turn off your iPad, or it will actually ask you if you'd like to power down, and I will show you that right now. So if I hold it down, it will actually ask me would I like to power off, and then I would slide this to the left with my finger to power it off. I'm going to actually click cancel though. There is a silent switch that is located right here, as well as the volume up and down buttons on the side of your iPad as well. You'll see them right here. The one button that you use within any apps is the home button, which always exits your app. You actually will also be able to, I'll show you later, hold home and sleep wake at the same time. If you hold it down, it will reset your iPad. If you just tap the two of them together, it will take a screenshot of whatever is on your screen at the time. Now, navigation of the iPad. Swiping with your finger will move between different screens. Tapping will open up an application. Pressing the home button will close an application, and double tapping the home button will bring up multitasking. I will show you all of those right now. So swiping is with one finger. I can move left and right between screens. I can tap on any button here to open it up. So if I tap on Safari, I can open up Safari. If I tap the home button, this button right here, then it will exit Safari. And if I double tap this home button, it will bring up the multitasking bar at the bottom, showing me all the apps that are currently open. And as well, if I move my finger from left to right, I can also see some additional buttons. This will allow me to lock my rotation, so I cannot turn the screen. If I try to hold it in a portrait mode, it will not actually rotate. Whereas if I unlock that and I hold this in a portrait mode, it will actually rotate my screen. I'm going to go back to the horizontal mode. Down here, you will also see a brightness bar that you can move. Buttons to control the sound from whatever app is being played from, and you'll see this right here. This is the music app that sound is being played from. There's currently no sound. You'll see a volume slider in addition to the volume buttons on the side of the iPad. And you'll also see this button, which is what I'm using to display this iPad to you on my computer. It's called the AirPlay button. And using an app called Reflector, I am able to show what is on my iPad on my computer. And I'm mirroring it. So you can see everything I do on my iPad, you can see up here as well. There are some other navigation tips. 4 fingers up can help reveal the multitasking bar. 4-finger swipe can allow you to navigate between different apps that are open. and you can actually grab all 5 fingers and pinch them towards the center, and you will close that app and go back to the home screen. To move things around, rearrange apps, put them in different folders, you'll see that it says to tap and hold an app until it shakes. Then you can drag it around or delete it. I will show you how that works right now. When I hold down on an app, I'm going to hold down on, say, the Game Center app. Then they all start to shake. And I can take one and move it into a different place. I can take 2 of them and put them on top of each other and turn them into a folder. And I can actually rename this folder. It gives a suggestion. Maybe I just want to call these hidden apps, the applications I do not want my students to be opening. I can also drag any of these into another screen, so I can have more than one screen that's visible. So perhaps I want to take this hidden apps folder and actually drag it, so I pull it with my finger over to the side of the screen, and it pulls it into a new screen. So now I'm going to press the home button to stop the shaking. You can see I have 2 different screens. I can say this is the main screen. I don't want you to use any apps on this second screen. But you'll see that at the bottom, there are certain apps that are contained within both screens. These are the apps that are within the dock. Now, to change the ones in the dock, you do the same thing. You hold down, and you can take an app out of the dock. You can also drag an app into the dock. Any apps that you would like to have visible on any screen, no matter where they are. Very easy access. Next, I'm going to talk to you about the keyboard. So the keyboard on the iPad is a touch screen keyboard. When I open up any application that I can type into, I can tap onto the place where I'm going to type. I'm going to click there on the search bar, and a keyboard pops up. I can then type in, as I'd like, using my fingers, whatever I'm looking for. News. I can also press this button in the lower right-hand corner, hold it down, and say split the dock. This turns it into 2 sides, which is especially useful if you are going to hold your iPad with your hands and you would like to be able to type with your thumbs. It provides really easy access to be able to type with your thumbs rather than have to do touch typing with your fingers. I'm actually going to hold down this button again and say dock and merge, so put it back down at the bottom. And then when I'm done and I don't want to use the keyboard anymore, I can press that button and hide it. If I want it to come back up, I click wherever I would be entering that text. You'll also see that this button changes depending on where you are. Here, it's search. If I was taking notes, so I'm going to leave this and I'm going to go into notes. I'm going to type and start writing notes. You're going to see it turns into return because it's actually adapting to show you whatever this is going to be functioning as within this app. Not just a general return or enter button as you see on most keyboards. I also want to show you within the keyboard how to cut, copy, and paste. You'll see here it says to tap and hold a word until the spyglass appears. Then you move the cursor to select that word, or you can just double tap on a word. I'm going to show you how that works within this page. So I'm on the Mo Willems website right now. If you have not heard of Mo Willems, he is a very incredible author. And this is loading rather slowly right now, so I'm just going to do a new search for another author, which I love his work. So I'm having a little bit of iPad connectivity problems with my Wi-Fi. It's okay. So I'm just going to show you from I'm going to show you from here. So I've typed out Peter Reynolds, and I want to copy this because I actually want it to be in that notes. I actually don't just want to search for it, I want it in my notes. So I can say select all. It will select everything that's there. And then I can click copy, and I can copy that. If I actually only want one word, I can press my finger on these little blue buttons and drag them to wherever I want. So if I just want the word Reynolds, I'm going to hold my finger on the first blue dot and then drag it to exactly where I want. And now I can actually find the definition, copy, paste, or cut. I'm going to actually copy this. Now when I press the home button and go back and open notes, now when I type to tap, I can start typing. But if I tap again where that cursor is, so I just tap my finger right there where the cursor was, it allows me to say paste. I want to paste in that word that I copied. Another great thing you can do with the keyboard is you can do a search. You can search for everything within your iPad. So I'm going to show you how that works right now. I'm going to close this, and I'm going to move my finger from left to right, and this brings up the search. And within here, I can type in if I'm looking perhaps for a certain application, or I contact somebody in my contact book. But let's say I'm looking for the App Store. I just can't find that button. I type it in here, and look, one of the first things that comes up is the App Store. And I tap that, and it will launch the App Store for me. So that are the basics. Those are the basics on using the keyboard. Next, I'm going to show you how to set up your mail on your iPad. So to set up your mail from your iPad, you can actually just click the mail button. And when you click on the mail button, it will welcome you to mail, and it will ask you what type of account you would like to add. If this is personal account, they have Gmail, iCloud, Yahoo, AOL, and Hotmail. It's pretty easy to set any of those up. You just enter your username and password. I'm going to show you how to set up your Ravenswood account because this one can be a little tricky. So I click on Microsoft Exchange, and I type in my email. And my password. And I will be blocking this out because I do not want you to see my password because it does show my keystrokes on here. But I've entered my password, and then the description, I'm actually going to change that to just say RCSD. And you'll see for each one of those capital letters, the first one was automatically capitalized. This blue arrow is highlighted, so I can press the R and it's capital. Now everything is lowercase, you'll see. I want it to be all capital, so I'm actually going to double tap on this, and it's basically just like the caps lock is on. Now every button I press is capitalized. If I just wanted to capitalize one letter, then I would just hit that button, and you'll see it's ready for one letter to be capitalized, and the next one will not be. Now I click next. It will verify my account. And you'll see that it needs some additional information. So it needs to know the server. The server is actually webmail.ravenswoodschools.org. So our server is webmail.ravenswoodschools.org. The domain is actually RCSD. So I'm going to double tap this, to get the caps lock on and say RCSD. And then it asks me for my username again, which is just this without the @ravenswoodschools.org, just my username. My password was already entered from before, but if yours was not, you just enter it again. And then I'll click next. And it's going to verify this account and it's going to set it all up for me. I know I just skipped one single step, but once I've added my account, it'll ask me if I would like to sync my contacts and calendar, and I actually choose to accept all of that. And then I click next, and then I'm here in the mailbox. One important thing that I do want to show you as far as mail on the iPad goes is if you leave here and click on settings and click on the mail button, here is your RCSD calendar or account. I'm going to click on there, and I want to change the mail days to sync. I don't just want to see the last 3 days of mail. I want to see all the mail that's in my inbox. So I'm actually going to tap on that and say I have no limit. You are free to have just 3 days if you want, but I like to see no limit because I want to see all the mail that is in my inbox. And I'll go back, click done. And now when I go into mail, it's going to be collecting all of that. Right now it's syncing it so you don't see my mail, but pretty soon all the mail that I have in my inbox will show up here on the left hand side. And if I get new email, it will actually show me an unread number right here, a little red number, 2, 3, and it will tell you that's how many messages you have that are new in your inbox. So now I'll show you a little bit of how to use the calendar on the iPad. So from the iPad, I can click on calendar and it will show me anything that I have on my calendar. Right now it's still syncing my Ravenswood account, so it's not able to access that. But you can see that it shows me information by week. I can see it by day, by month, year, and in list form. If you wish to change between weeks or between months, you can actually just use your finger and drag, and you can turn the page to the next one, or pull back and it will add the page from before. You can also do the same down at the bottom by actually just tapping on what you want. So if I click on June, then it will change to June. I can actually search for things in my calendar through the search bar, or I can see today just by clicking today. Now, if I'm in any of these and I would like to add something, I can actually just tap and add whatever I'd like to my calendar. Actually, if you have a calendar that is synced, there will also be a button in the lower right hand corner that you can press the plus button and you can add whatever event you would like to for that day. So right now I'm going to show you a few how-to steps for different things that you may be interested in doing on your iPad. The first thing I'm going to show you is how to connect to Wi-Fi. So to connect to Wi-Fi through your iPad, you'll actually go to the settings button and you will see the Wi-Fi button at almost at the top. Click there. Your Wi-Fi may be turned off. All you have to do is actually just tap this button to turn it on or off. You'll see that mine is frozen for the moment because I've actually disconnected from the network, but now it's back. Then if you'd like to switch to a different network, you'll see that all of these are currently locked, which means you need a password to get onto them. But you would tap on the network you would wish to join, enter the password, or if it was an unlocked network, you would actually not need to enter the password. Hotspots such as Starbucks, you may have to accept some terms and conditions. Once you've selected that, then you are going to be connected onto Wi-Fi, which will allow you to access the internet through any of those applications. Next, I'm going to show you how to limit access. How to limit your students from accessing certain applications and certain settings. To do this, you would also open up the settings, and this time you go under General. And you'll see restrictions right here. So you'll tap on restrictions and you'll enable them. All of this is touch-based. You enter restrictions passcode. Make it something that you will remember, but something that's not easy for the kids. So please do not do what I'm about to do, which is 1111. Now in here, I can turn on and off certain applications, certain content, the ability to make in-app purchases, to share things to Twitter, Facebook. So perhaps I just don't want them to be doing web browsing. I also don't want them to be deleting any applications that I have already installed. So I turned off Safari, and I've turned off the ability to delete apps. Now when I leave here, you'll see Safari has disappeared. It used to be right down here. It is no longer there because I've turned it off. If I want to get into it, I can actually press the restrictions button, type in that passcode, and turn Safari back on. Now when I leave here, Safari will be back where it was. Next, I'm going to show you how to limit access to one app. How do you make it so if students are in a center, they can only access one app and no other apps? To do that, you would open up the settings, and it's again under General, but you'll scroll down to the bottom and you'll see Accessibility. Tap Accessibility, and then you'll see under Learning, you'll see Guided Access. Type Guided Access. Then we'll turn it on, set a passcode. I'm again going to do 111. Please do not do this because it's going to be too easy for the kids to leave. I also enable screen sleep, which allows the iPad to shut off its screen even while the app is locked onto the screen. So I'll show you what this means right now. So I want my students to just be able to use clock, to just be able to use the stopwatch and nothing else even on the clock. So now I'm going to triple tap the home button, this button right here. I'm going to triple tap it, and it's going to give me guided access. If I just click start, then the guided access will be on, and students will not be able to leave this app. So if I press start, guided access started. When students try to press this home button to leave, they cannot leave. They have to triple click, and then it asks them for the passcode. If they know the passcode, they can type it and they can get out. Otherwise, they're not able to leave. And in fact, they try it once, say, "I'm sorry, you were wrong. Please wait 10 seconds. Then it will ask them for a longer period of time, basically to make sure that students aren't just guessing. Eventually, you get to the point where they can't even unlock it after an hour. You can also turn off the ability to touch the screen, to move it, and to make motion be detected. Something else that's pretty amazing is that you can actually circle areas on the screen you want to disable, certain buttons you don't want enabled. So I do not want kids leaving the stopwatch, so I'm going to circle world clock and alarm. Do not allow them to click on those, and do not allow them to click on the timer. I want them to stay within the stopwatch. So now when I resume this, students can't, they try to tap on timer or alarm, they can't get to those places. The only ways they can get out is by triple clicking guided access. And now when I end guided access, now we can go in between all these different tools. Next, I'm going to talk about how to take a screenshot. To take a screenshot with your iPad, all you have to do is press the home button and the power button at the same time very quickly, and you'll see a flash, and then you have taken that photo, and it will be sitting in your photos, which you can then send to somebody else. I can in fact click edit, click on one of these, and share it via email, Twitter, Facebook. use it as a wallpaper, copy it, or if I have a printer set up, I can print to it as well. Next, we will talk about how to add a bookmark. This will allow you to keep tabs on a specific website that you like. So for instance here, maybe I really love this Mo Willems book website, and I want to be able to come back to it whenever my students are working. So I can add it as a bookmark by pressing this button right here. The same button that allows me to email this website, but I can bookmark it, and it gives a suggested name. I can save that, and now under bookmarks right there, I have all the things that I've saved, which include the San Jose Mercury News and Mo Willems stuff. Those other tools are ones that have already been added for me. I'm going to leave this right now. I can also add this as a button on my home page. So if I say add to home screen, I'm going to name it Mo Willems and add it. And now it is a page, or it is rather a link on my page, on my right here. I can click on this and it will open up this page in Safari. It's a great way to have this website stored inside of a folder. So for instance, maybe this is my literacy folder, drag them on top of each other, and I name this literacy. Then I tell my students they can access any of these tools in the literacy folder. How to save a photo. If you see a photo that you really appreciate, you can actually hold your finger down on it and just save that image. I click Save Image, and now it is hidden. Well, not hidden, but it is now stored within my photos. Apps. We are going to talk about how to download an app, how to search for an app, also how you would update an app. To install any new apps, you will click on the App Store, which you will see for me is the lower right-hand corner. I tap on it and it will open up the App Store as long as I'm connected either through cellular data or through wireless. You will see this as the featured screen, some suggested apps that they have for you. You can also see the top charts, which will show you the top paid apps, the top free apps, and the top grossing apps. You'll see that some of these top grossing apps are actually free. That's because they make their money through in-app purchases. You will also see that some have a plus mark next to them and some do not. The ones without means that it is actually exclusive to this iPad. It is not accessible through iPhones, iPod touches, only through iPads and iPad minis. These plus signs means that this is accessible through your iPad, iPhone, iPod touch, and if you buy it for this, you will be able to download it in something else. You can download it on your phone. Now, actually, any app that you buy on your phone or on your iPod touch, you can install on your iPad. But if it does not have the plus sign, it will actually load in a smaller version. It will look pretty much the same size as on your iPhone. You can expand that to be double size, but it's somewhat pixelated and not nearly as nice as, say, the HD version or the iPad version of many of these apps. I can move my finger up and down to look at the different apps that are available. The Genius has app recommendations if you've downloaded apps already. Purchased will show you apps that you have purchased already. I have not signed in, so I do not have any purchased apps. And updates, this is where you will go if you see a number right here next to the App Store that tells you that you have apps you need to update. You would click on the App Store and then it will tell you which apps need to be updated. You'll just click update all or click on update next to the ones that you want, and that is how you update. Now I'm going to show you how to install an app, and perhaps I'm going to show you, I'll show you with this National Geographic National Parks app. I tapped on it, and to install, I tap on the free right there, and then it will say install app. Yes, I want to install the app. Now, one thing that's important is right there, offers in-app purchases. My students could download the in-app purchases if they know my password. So do not let them know the password or turn off the ability to install in-app purchases, which you can do through the restrictions, which I showed earlier in an earlier video. So I'm going to use an existing Apple ID because I'm using one that I have already created. You could be creating your own as well. If you are using a district iPad, in general, there should be an accompanying district Apple ID, either for one for you as a teacher or one that is used by all the students in the school. So I'm going to type in my username. And I'm going to type in my password. Just like before, this is actually going to be blacked out because I do not want you to be able to see what my password is. But I click OK, and then it will begin downloading and installing. And I know that it's installing because I see this little bar here. And actually, if I leave, I'll see that it's starting to install. Once this blue bar is fully filled, the application will be installed. It's all dependent on how fast your wireless network is and how large the file is itself. So I'm going to go back to the App Store for a moment while that's loading, because I'm actually going to tap outside. So I'm going to tap somewhere out here and leave that. And now I'm going to search because I want to find something specific. So perhaps I want a very specific Dr. Seuss book. Maybe I'll see if they have Cat in the Hat. I type it in here and I click search, and then it will show me all the iPad apps and all the iPhone apps. You will see that in this case, there is a light version and there is a full version. It's the same app, but you don't get to do quite as much in the light. It allows you to test it out and see, is this important? Is this a good app? And if so, then I will buy it later. But it kind of lets you demo something first to make sure that it's worth your purchase. Now, not every app does this, but many educational apps do, because they know that making a decision on purchasing an app for a school, for a classroom, is a pretty big deal because of how much it costs in purchasing one for every single iPad in that room. If I wanted to purchase a paid one, I would actually click on that app and I would click on the $3.99. I'm not going to do that because I do not want to purchase this. But if I wanted to download the free one, I can tap on the free version and just tap on that free, tap on install app, and it will begin to install this application as well. I can scroll down and see more information, such as the size of this app. I can also click on ratings and reviews and see how it's been rated by other people. And you'll see that these apps are loading. But even while I'm waiting for them to load, I can drag them together and put them into a folder. Perhaps this folder is going to be called After Centers. Maybe this is where they can go after they finish their work in centers. I can even drag this folder down here into the dock, and I can have a folder sit here in the dock of these apps that are always going to be there for them. So they always have access to those apps. They tap once to open it, tap again to close it. You can even tap once to open it and tap outside of it to close that. I hope that this introductory webinar has been helpful for you. One other thing that I do want to add is about power management. So management of your iPad. Keeping it charged really means charging it every night. If you charge it every night, it should function through most of the day. I have actually been using this iPad for 4 hours and actually using it in a pretty power heavy way by streaming this onto my computer. And it's gone from 49% to 26%, so about a 23% loss, so about a third of or a quarter of the battery within 5 hours. So you can see that it's actually pretty lengthy, maybe 4 hours, but either way, it's pretty lengthy for how long it will last. You can buy a Bluetooth keyboard. The best Bluetooth keyboard that I have heard of is the Logitech keyboard, which I'm going to see if I can find that for you right now and just show you. It is the ultra thin keyboard cover for iPad, made by Logitech. The great thing that people love about this is that it actually attaches to the front of your iPad, and so it's basically a case and keyboard. And it also does the auto unlock through the magnets as well. Finally, I do want to show you that this charging, you can charge through the wall or through the computer. It's best to charge through the wall because you can charge rather quickly. You can charge it through your computer, but it will take a much longer time for your iPad to reach its full battery capacity by charging through the computer than if you charged it through the wall. And you can see that this cable is detachable. This cable right here, you can attach it into the computer or straight into this wall outlet, or the wall socket for the outlet. I hope that this introductory webinar has helped you familiarize yourself with the iPad. Please, if you'd like to learn more about the iPad, please watch my next webinar that will be about tools to use in your classroom and how to make this more effective in your classroom. But I hope that this has been a great introduction for you. Thank you.